Hello guys, in this quick video I'm going to show you how to add a second CPU in a dual socket system without running into compatibility problems. Okay, so to add a second CPU you need to match two things. First, the model of the CPU, obviously, and second, the stepping of the CPU. Stepping is somewhat like a revision, so both CPUs need to have the same revision to be recognized, at least in Windows, because in some cases Linux actually recognizes CPUs with different revisions. But we are talking here about absolute compatibility, so we are interested in being recognized by all operating systems, and in that case you need to have identical steppings, meaning revisions. For this video to continue, I will take out this heatsink from the CPU because this is the safest way to see what exact CPU and revision you need. You could potentially use tools like CPU-Z and things like that. I will show you in a moment in this video that variant, but I've heard of cases where the revision was reported wrong there, and people have bought a second CPU, put it in, and realized it was not working. So I do not trust that variant. I want to see directly on the CPU and recognize the revision from there. So this will be coming out. To remove the heatsink in some systems with some particular coolers, it is really handy to have an extremely long screwdriver, but you could potentially try and remove this part here, the memory cooler, and try to access it through here, at least in my system. But if you can afford one of these, it will come in handy sooner rather than later. So let's take this out. Okay, the heatsink is out, and it's actually good I took it out because the thermal paste is actually dried up, so I will change it. I just need to clean the CPU now so we can see the numbers on it. Just wanted to show you a nice thing. You don't really find this in consumer computers, but you do find them in workstations and servers and whatever. You can see here we have some solder marks on this copper. This means that the fins themselves are actually soldered onto this thing, which obviously is good for thermal transfer. But that actually means that they are not aluminum, at least not in my opinion, because from what I know, solder does not stick to aluminum. So yeah, they are probably some other metal, or they are somehow coated with something that actually sticks to this, but it's way better than what you find in consumer products when they are just pressed onto these heat pipes. So just a side note, let's clean that and see the numbers on it next. Okay, CPU is clean, heatsink is cleaned with some wet wipes. Sometimes, depending on what they have on them, you might need to add some alcohol, but in my situation they were perfect. Okay, and now let me just show you what we are searching for. Let's zoom on this CPU, and we are searching for that thing right there, SLBBB. That 5-letter code tells us all the information about this CPU that we actually need. So the first one, this thing moves around, this code sometimes. On some CPUs you can find it right there, and sometimes it's not just letters, it can have numbers like this one, or no, that might be a 0 for the one next to it, but that is not the code that we want. This one, the first one, is, and I will also show you this code on another CPU, so you can see another possible positioning. Okay, we have here a really old CPU. It's a Pentium 4, but it still has that code, SL9KG. So in this case it's not the first one, it's the one in the middle. If your CPU has more than one code, like mine has, we already saw it has two codes, you can actually try to search for both of them and see what you get. In our case, it might be C0 right over there. That might actually be the stepping. So on this X5472 CPU, they might have even written the stepping on the CPU itself. But that first code is what we will search for online to find more info on this CPU. And for this one, it is the one right over there. I will also show you by the end of the video a third CPU, which probably will have that code in another location. Okay, this is the chip that I wanted to show you, and it's really hard to see on it because this had liquid metal between it and the heatsink, and it got affected. So I needed to clean it, but some of the text went also away. Right there somewhere you may hear my little baby girl crying in the background, so sorry for that. I don't know if you are able to see it. It's really hard to see, but it is an, let me show you, it's an SL95X, which is a Pentium D 930. So even in those days they still had the code. So let's continue with the upgrade. Okay guys, just wanted to show you another CPU. This is a Celeron, rather old and weak, and this is the code SL87K. So even on socket 478 CPU they still had this code, so you should be able to find it on yours. Okay, at this point what I like to do is put everything back, because there is no point on letting them stay all around until my new CPU will arrive. So I just put a little bit of thermal paste on it. Arctic MX2, it's not the best thermal paste, but it is good enough and I have never had any problems with it. So a little line there, maybe it's too much, I don't think so, should be good. So let's put that back on it. Just wanted to add, before putting the thermal paste back on, maybe it's a good idea to just take a simple picture of the CPU so you have all the information on it right at your fingertips when searching for a second CPU. I have them on video, so I will not take a picture, but you should do it. Just wanted to add, when tightening the screws on a heatsink, do it in a cross pattern, X pattern, plus pattern, whatever you want to call it, but just don't tighten these two on this side and then these two. Do it one here, one here, one here, one here, or maybe one here, one here, one here, one here. Try to do a somewhat of a pattern. Don't go like this. That is really bad, because if you do one side first, you will squish all the thermal paste onto the other side, and when you tighten the other side it will come out and you'll have too little here and too much here. So a cross pattern, maybe even actually like this. You start from one side, go to the other, and then come back to the first and then go to the other again. So you will try, and do not tighten the first screw to the maximum. Do this, do that, do this, do that, do this, do that, do this, do that, until you go to the maximum tightness on the screws. So yeah, cross pattern, and do not fully tighten from the start. That should be good for you. Forgot to tell you something pretty important. In most cases you will actually need to buy also the heatsink itself, because a lot of computers, if they don't have the second CPU, they don't have the heatsink, obviously. And sometimes you do not find one listed for your particular model, but manufacturers most times actually use one of these for more models. So somebody probably is selling one of these, which is good for your computer, but it's listed for the computer that he had it in. So you can actually sometimes find better deals, and even find one if you cannot really find one, by using the model number. Now this is a really long and annoying model number. but I already know that the model number is FD841. So this part right here is the actual number. This is just gibberish, or how you say. So yeah, you can try and search based on that, and you will probably find one without issues. So let's get to my PC and show you more about it.
Okay guys, we are on my computer now. I just want to apologize for the noise that you will be hearing. I bought a new microphone so I have better audio in my videos, but it seems it doesn't really get along with my sound card, because there is plenty of background noise. You can hear it obviously now. And if I try to use noise suppression, my voice sounds like crap, the volume isn't constant, so yeah, I cannot use it, although in a lot of other motherboards with integrated audio, noise suppression was working way better than the way it does on this particular MSI X79A, but it is what it is. I have the volume of the mic to the max, I have 20 decibels gain. Yeah, I need to buy something like this, a preamp for this mic. So yeah, bear with me for this video. That will be a separate video when I buy something like this, and hopefully I remove all the noise. Okay, so being on my computer now, let's take into consideration the first CPU, the Pentium 4 that I showed you just a little bit ago. It was an SL9KG, and if you search for it on cpuworld.com, you can find here a little bit lower core stepping. So it's a D0 stepping. You can also search the same thing on chiplist.com, and we can look here. This is the code that we took from that particular CPU, and it's a D0 stepping. So these two sites say the same thing, which is clearly okay. This was done in a few S spec numbers, this particular Pentium 4, and even in this D0 stepping there was an engineering sample, QQHU. You do not want to mix these two together. So if you have this one on your CPU, search for one with this exact code online. And it's pretty simple to search. Let's go, for example, to eBay and just input that, and you find directly CPUs, because everybody now knows to list this thing, because people are searching for it. It's that easy. Obviously price plus postage, and you can see what you actually need. In US probably you have lower prices than we have here in Europe. So let's close this thing, get rid of the Pentium 4, and now we are back to my CPU that I actually need for my dual CPU setup. I found on a website from my country, so this is Romanian what you see here. I found two of them. One, this is the wrong revision. Let me show you why. It's an SLASA. This is not what we want. So this thing, although it's cheaper than the other one, it will not work for me. Probably Linux will see it, but in Windows it will not be seen and it will not work. So I need to close this one. And this is the second one that somebody is selling, SLBBB. This is exactly what I need. It has been modified to also work in a socket 775. No problem, I can remove the modification from the back of it and put it in my socket. But the problem is this particular seller wants too much for it. I tried to talk to him, he didn't even answer when I offered a lower price, so yeah, what can I say? Next thing, I went to eBay this seller was selling the same CPU. As you can see here, it's exactly what I need, and I got it for 18 pounds. The other CPU, the other seller, if I make the conversion, add shipping, almost 30 pounds, so obviously it will not be sold. Romanians have a way of trying to keep the prices really high. I do not know why. When I sell stuff, I want to sell it fast. I don't want to wait half a year to sell it, but yeah, whatever. Everybody does it their own way. So some will keep the price really high, even if it's not a real price. It's not worth it what they ask for it. So this is closed, and I obviously bought this thing. Another thing, on the same Romanian website, I found actually a cooler. As you can see here, this is the code from the cooler, and this is the model of my particular workstation. So if I would have searched even for this or exactly the model, I would still find this cooler. Obviously, a lot of them you can also find on eBay. Let's go back, the exact same thing. You can see it here. So lots of them, lower, higher prices. I think I will buy this one. I will try to tinker something and use a cooler that I already have. It's a really nice big copper cooler. Might work, might not, so I might need to buy this, but I didn't order it yet. Okay, let's close this. I will also put this link in the description of this video. It actually shows you a lot of information about what the S-spec number actually means. The S-spec number is exactly this one, what I already told you. But the weird thing is that some say about the stepping that it's actually a revision. But if we go to CPU Z, this is my particular CPU, you can see here revision C2, and in stepping we have another value, but everybody knows stepping to be actually the revision. So these two things are used, I think, in reverse. Many people use them in reverse, so don't risk and just take the information from CPU Z for good. Again, I have found cases where this was actually wrong, so yeah, better look on your CPU directly, although normally if you look at the revision you can find the stepping right here, although it says revision. But yeah, I'm not going to trust this. It's better to look directly on the CPU. So this, all that I told you up until now, goes for Intel chips, but let's try and search for an this is I don't know, 64X2. This is a really old CPU that I had once. So let's see if I can actually get some images with this CPU. Okay, you can see here NBBWE. So AMD, I don't know if they still use this thing 100%, but at least at a certain point in time they had something similar. Could be changed. Maybe at this point you need to search for another one of these codes on AMD chips. I've never used a dual core AMD system, so I don't know. Let's try and opt on CPU and see what we actually get. But in principle it should be about the same thing. You can see here the code. So yeah, I don't know, guys. Let's try and search for this CCBGF and see what we get. Okay, so it's the stepping code. But yeah, date code. Okay, so it is about the same thing even in AMD like it is in Intel. About the same thing, they have F3 stepping for this particular code. About AMD, take it with a grain of salt. I cannot tell you 100% sure. For Intel, I know that is the code to search, hands down. Okay, again here you can see it on an Opteron. So maybe for AMD it's about the same. Just do a little bit more research before you commit to buying something for sure. Again, not 100% about this. And yeah, that's about it. Next, when this particular CPU that I've ordered from eBay will reach me, I will continue this video. Okay, so this is about a month later, hopefully not more. Yeah, having a newborn in the family kind of messes with your hobbies. So yeah, this arrived. I don't even know, $15. Was it something like that? I think $15 delivered. Yes, it is a different shape from the one that is already in, but it does fit without problems. And the codes, the part numbers are just a tiny bit different from here on. So no problem for us. It actually does seem a bit beefier, although it seems bigger in this direction instead of this, like the other one is. Who knows? But overall, will do the job without issues. And we have the CPU right here. And I will take it out of this, clean it up, put it in the socket. Also remove the socket cover, obviously clean this up. And see if we have a boot. Just wanted to show you once again that the CPU is the proper revision, the one that arrived, and the next I will do the installing. And obviously I'm unable to connect it. Now it's connected. Let's try take two. And we are inside the BIOS. I think it was F2. And this is the CPU info, and this thing will start to speed up its fans, so it is pushing out a little bit of dust and making noise. Let's get a cover on it. A lot of these brand computers make a lot of noise when they are just sitting inside the BIOS. It will not make this noise if it has an operating system installed. I don't know why it is like this, but it is. Maybe the CPUs are running at max or something. But if we are looking here at the CPU info, we can see it is identical. Too much zoom. Dial back a bit. So yeah, we should have absolutely no problem using these two CPUs in Windows 10. So next, hopefully you will see me booted into Windows 10 and everything up and running normally. Ta-da! And we are booted into Windows 10, and you can see here two processors, so they are perfectly recognized. Task manager, 2 sockets, 8 cores, so everything is running perfectly. And yeah, that's about it. If you stick to the things that I told you in this video, you should have no problems into getting a second CPU in your workstation or dual socket motherboard,
quad socket motherboard, whatever you have going on there. So this has been it, guys, for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully it is helpful to you and you have enjoyed it. In which case, please give it a like, check out my other videos, subscribe to my channel, and as always, see you in the next one. Bye!